In a sweeping move, President Donald Trump's administration has placed over 1,300 employees of Voice of America on paid administrative leave, effectively halting the broadcaster's operation for the first time in 83 years. The action follows the executive order that he signed on Friday aimed at reducing federal bureaucracy, which also terminated funding for other U.S.-funded media outlets, including Radio Free Europe and Radio Free Liberty and Radio Free Asia. VOA's director, Michael Abramowitz, expressed profound sadness over this unprecedented silencing of the institution. The directive aligns with President Trump's long-standing criticism of Voice of America, which he has accused of promoting narratives counter to the U.S. interest. In line with this perspective, Trump loyalist Kari Lake has been appointed as a special advisor to U.S. Agency of Global Media, the VOA's parent company. Lake has labeled U.S. AGM as non-salvageable and advocates for minimizing its size and influence. The decision has drawn sharp criticism from press freedom advocates who argue that it undermines the independent journalism and hampers the United States' ability to promote democratic values abroad. The cessation of operations at VOA and affiliated networks is seen as a significant retreat from combating authoritarian regimes through unbiased news dissemination. Critics contend that this move serves as a gift to America's enemies, strengthening adversarial narratives while weakening U.S. global standing. Now, as the have for the thumbnail for this, we are literally losing our voice around the world. Donald Trump has done a lot of things in the 50 or so days he's been president, and a lot of things have had people scratching heads and wondering what's going on. He is a very, very vocal non-supporter of independent media, of media that just goes out and reports what happens and isn't nice to him for whatever he's doing, especially when he's not doing nice things. As a independent journalism for what it is, just a guy on the internet talking things up, I first had to worry about making this a viable activity because this is done in the maybe 25-30% of the time I don't have working on actual work to pay the bills. I also have to worry a little bit about, taking on the big man, if you will. If something happens, someone to think that I were someone dangerous, yeah, I can be sued. I can be pushed around as well, and I don't have the resources to do this. With Donald Trump threatening to sue and outlaw news outlets for not being nice to him, keeping out an outlet that's a global operation because they're not following along with his really dumb plan to rename random things, and now shutting down what has been for 80 odd years the voice to tell people around the world what makes America so great and how to get real information that you're being fed disinformation from your actual governments. As the said from the quote, we're handing over everything that we do that allows us to show everything we are. I am really shaken with this. I don't know how to process this. My personal thoughts on this is, what is the point of doing this? Other than giving a job to one of his supporters, Kari Lake, and doing what he's doing, just causing chaos and confusion, we're on a path where we're tearing down every single norm that's out there. He didn't understand, I guess, what was normal and didn't know how to do it in his last attempt. He just did random things. Now everything is so organized, so meticulously done. He may have had Deutsch going out there chopping things out with chainsaws, but now they really are going to things with a scalpel in the right places, doing the right things to really undermine what's going on. I am scared for my potential livelihood as a journalist, because if there's not enough outlets, if the big outlets can't actually make money to work, then there's not enough jobs to go around. But when something as simple as organizations which are created to spread the word of America, to fight against the bad guys out there, to get them real information, and of course everything's propaganda, do the propaganda parts about how America's so great, instead of trying to promote America being great again, because these radio stations aren't really pushing that, they're pushing the basic fundamentals of the United States, Trump's shutting it all down. Maybe he'll just play his speeches over and over again. Maybe he'll talk about all the things that he says are flat out made up in his things going on. Now, this channel and these messages here, these short clips, are not meant to be, straight up, Jay Cleveland's angry, here's what's going on. And that's what's coming out in this one right here. This is the only way I can do with this one right here. The only thing I can take on this one, which happened a few hours back before I record this, but I'm sort of wrapping up for the night to prepare for tomorrow. This one gives me very great pause, because if USAID spending money in various countries to make them not be so mad at us so that we don't have more people to actually try to do bad things to us. If the voices we use to tell people in other nations just how great we are, how you should be more like us, tell your people, tell your governments that you should be more like us, just go away. Literally just putting them on leave overnight. They basically shut everybody out of the offices as they're going to work today and lock things down. This is not how business works. Donald Trump ordered the deal. These are not negotiation tactics. These are people who have to pay money for things. And since I guess we're cutting all the government's safety nets for all the people that we're getting rid of, it's all on everybody's back. If the Republicans are start handing out boots to everybody so we can pull some of our bootstraps, that'd be great. But no one without boots can actually do this. There's only so many shirts you can give off your back till you realize you're out of shirts. And if you're one that isn't actually giving out shirts or wants to sell them at very large prices, then I guess that's what's going on. I honestly cannot process this action. I cannot take this going. I don't understand what's going on. I am powerless to do anything about it. I can't fight it. I can talk about it in this little video here that gets very little traction because we only have less than 2,000 subscribers to our channel. This isn't going viral. This is not going to solve any problems. This is not going to do anything to fix anything going on. Sounding alarm doesn't even make a difference because everybody knows what's happening. You either see what's happening and are scratching your heads and wondering why it's going this way and how bad it's going to get, or you see what's happening and you're applauding because your man is doing what he said he was going to do, until, of course, you find out what he does affects you and affects your livelihood and affects how you get activity to things. It affects your world. The people who are cheering as Donald Trump and the chainsaw efficiency and all the people that he's put behind him or in front of him, I guess you say in this case, and all the places who are doing all these things, saying all these crazy outlandish things and doing them, taking who are our allies and arguing with them, hanging out with our adversaries as if we're old buddies, cutting funds to things that have been working in the past, getting rid of people without any cause by telling them they have poor perform, but they really just are still in a probationary period, so you can get rid of them without saying very much. And just being nasty. So obviously we put these things out here for conversation. These are things out there for your way to talk to us about what's important or not. This is a story that has been posted into the feeds. It is in there. It's there. So you can engage in this one with replies as you want to. You can comment on my lack of tact in this one in no ways, in shape or form, sitting on the fence on this one. This is another, not just a bad idea, another bad idea, another misguided thing that one person said, oh, it's unsalvageable. They're just doing so much bad stuff. All these agencies cannot be all this bad at the same time. They could not have all been terrible. And most of the things that are happening in these agencies weren't massive shifts from his actual authority in his first term moving forward to this new term. Joe Biden didn't just flip everything Donald Trump did on his head. Donald Trump actually flipped everything we were doing for the previous 200 or so years on its head. And Biden was trying to put things back into what people thought were norms. If you don't like the norms, that's fine. Let Congress actually vote on changing those norms. They're not going to do it. They weren't going to do it before. And now they're just going to follow along. I fear for my livelihood. I fear for our freedom. I fear for our voices. I fear for America. This is the first thing of all the things that have happened in the 50 so days he's been president, all the things that were overly stated in Project 2025, which he said he didn't know anything about, but since he watches so much TV, at some point in time he should have realized what it was about and realized that all the people that he hired, they had their names on this document. We're not talking about those things very much because the networks took the thought process to not bring up the indictments, not bring up the actual convictions, not bring these things up. Essentially, as they were being pushed away, they said it went away. CNN anchors were specifically told to stop calling him a man who was accused of sexual assault and stop talking about the indictment, stop talking about the conviction, stop talking about that stuff, and be more positive. And carry more of his stuff so you can hear what he's saying and people can hear the words come out of his mouth and understand exactly what he's saying and take it on his own, because the American people aren't stupid. But I listen to him on television, I listen to his addresses, I read transcripts of what he's doing. And I'm looking at it from a person that thinks, why is this grifter grifting so much, so in front of us? And all the people I'm seeing around here are seeing the grift. There's no punishment. In fact, it succeeds because enough people are actually buying into it. The reason why you get those spam emails all the time is because someone will eventually click on them and give them the gift cards or give them bank information or give up the whatever. It happens. I guess I'm done. This is an extremely long version of what we normally do for these clips because they're supposed to be 3 minutes of info and that lets you comment on them. This turned into something for the other channel because as I saw this basically wrapping up for the night, I had to address this. This will probably not get the clicks it needs to be to something that's going to be inside of things you might have heard come Monday, because it's going to go out there somewhere around like 11:30 midnight, somewhere in that range right there. Around the same time, they're going to put out the link for the story on Trump actually being blocked from using that act from the 1800s to go after gang members because they're so dangerous. Because deportation is on his agenda. I'm not sure where we are in this world at this point. I really don't know. It's so many days, so many things. I'm just awestruck. I know that the point of what I was doing was to actually have more conversation with you people out there and to grow a bit of a following, grow some sort of portfolio, if you will, so that I can, chit chat with more prominent people out there and maybe one day hit the grand scheme thing of sitting on a panel, being a cable news contributor as part of what I have going on. That is what I'm shooting for. If one man, although he's the most powerful man in this known universe to us on the planet, can do so many things to destroy so many properties so quickly that is actually going to hurt people's lives in ripple effects that no one can really even see right now, because he wants to own the libs and be retribution to all the folks that were mad at him before, we're in trouble. So I'm preparing myself for all the comments, all the hate. Go ahead and give it to me. If you're someone who actually worries about things like Voice of America going away, now, was it the most effective thing in the world? Was it costing a lot of money going forward? Is broadcasting in itself even worth it? Some may say it's not. Some may say the expenses that we're going into maintaining some of these stations are a big deal. And that's a good thing to talk about, because as I said, if the business of radio were much better, I'd still be doing radio for a nice bit of pay, getting information out to whatever consumers out there that I'd be serving, and not trying to say things on the internet and hoping someone listens and hoping someone replies. And maybe, just maybe, somebody clicks a button and gives me $2 so I can put it into Kitty going forward. I'm not crying for the Voice of America because I have so much love for the organization, plenty of respect, understand what it has done, and part of the Voice of America and Radio Free Europe specifically are part of the things that are the background in my head that got me into broadcasting radio specific. One of my big loves of that was how Radio Free Europe, Radio Free Asia helped win the war back when we fought the Nazis and the Japanese, the Axis powers then. We will get through this. We will get past this. I still pray for President Donald J. Trump, and that his actions are in some way, even if I don't get them, going to be good for us, U.S., and that the actions that are not, we'll find a way to get past it, or they can be fixed. We shall see. Right now, we shall see how well I did in this commentary. Not as well as I probably should have done, or maybe better, because the first half was the pure read of the story, the pure facts. But then that took about 3 minutes, and now I've been rambled for about 12 on this rant. And I guess it's something I had to get out at this point. It's something I had to just release right now because of where it is. This will probably be too long for TikTok. TikTok will tell me when I put it up there. This will definitely not be as short on YouTube. I'm going to get some lower numbers because this is right now a 15-minute roll at the moment. And since I average about a minute worth on each view, this one's going to get some bad reviews. I expect some down votes. I expect some hate. I expect some "you're an idiots," which I get all the time anyway. And a lot of "Trump is great," which I get a lot anyway. But I disagree. This is one of the few clip videos where I just have to flat out saying, this is wrong. This is bad. There's no confusion on this one. Unintended consequences. You can see where this is going. So why we're doing this, I don't know. Well, I think I do know. Comments, commentary, responses, and all the downvotes, go ahead. I can use the clicks.